Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Untitled Reviews. This time around we're taking a look at Cherry's DW9000 Slim Wireless Desktop Set, which is their flagship model in their long-running wireless range. Now, on first impressions, on the box at least, it looks like a really nice product, but at a price point of £90 RRP, it's by no means inexpensive, but is it really worth all that money? So, on the front of the box we find a pretty large image of both the keyboard and mouse, complete with USB receiver, along with a large sticker to show that it is a UK layout product. Whilst on the back we find product information in various European languages. So, having faffed around with opening the box and all manner of things like that, here's what we find inside. We first of all have the keyboard, part of the DW9000 Slim Wireless set, 4 little rubber feet to raise the keyboard up, an instruction manual and FAQs, a micro USB to USB-A cable for charging, and the mouse part of this desktop set in a suede pouch complete with Cherry emblem on the front in silver. On first impressions, the DW9000's keyboard does look a little bit like Apple's Magic one that used to come with Macs many moons ago with this white and silver design. But what's great about it is it works with PCs. It also works with Macs as well if you use both RF and Bluetooth. On first impressions we do find that it is a very low profile design, as you can see from the top there, with kind of minimal travel required to push down all the individual keys. What is really nice about this, and to be honest, for the 90 quid I'd be spending on the DW9000, I do expect it, but there's this really it really exudes this premium feel with the implanted Cherry logo here, and the array of multimedia keys that are present both in the kind of on this top row here. So in the top right corner, we've got volume up and down. You can mute the sound, and we've also got a little shortcut to the calculator, which is also really nice. And there's another 2 here which open new browser windows and also lock the PC, which is really useful in this kind of ever-changing world of security, I guess. What is unusual about the DW9000, and also unusual for just generally, is that we've got lock lights kind of built into the caps lock, the num lock and the scroll lock keys. It's unusual to find them anywhere on wireless keyboards, so for Cherry to put them in on the DW9000's keyboard is a big plus point here. Now, just taking a look at the top allows us to showcase this low profile design, along with the micro USB port for charging, which goes along with this cable here, and a little switch to change from Bluetooth or RF connections, meaning you can have it connected to 2 devices simultaneously and switch on the fly with minimal effort, which is also a really nice thing about this product. Another thing to note is that there aren't any kind of retractable feet like you might expect for the price. Instead, these 4 feet here, if I hold one up to the camera, you'll see are kind of self-adhesive, so they go on the bottom of the keyboard to raise it up a bit higher if that's what you need. It is naturally slanted anyway, so it does make for a really comfortable typing experience. And now for the mouse side of things. So, by the way, this black suede feels really nice. So, taking it out of the pouch, we find the mouse that goes with the DW9000 Slim keyboard. Now, it is a bit smaller than the box that gives the impression of, but otherwise, first impressions, it's a really nice feeling product. We've got kind of your 2 main left and right mouse buttons, a kind of rubber pattern scroll wheel that is really comfortable to use, button on the top here to change DPI with a fair amount of tactility, and the 2 side mouse buttons for going forwards and backwards in web pages. Now, one thing to note on the side here, and you should be able to see that with the close-up that we've got going on the side of the screen, the kind of Voronoi pattern is what Cherry have coined it, so it's some kind of rounded tessellation that really does exude the premium feeling that the DW9000 mouse has for 90 quid. It's also a 2-shot moulded design, I suppose in a way like keycaps, with plastic with the kind of rubber inlay that can be felt along the side. And on the underside you find the optical sensor that this mouse has, along with a similar switch to what was found on the kind of top side of the keyboard, allowing you to switch between Bluetooth and RF connections on the fly and at will. Also in the bottom here, quite securely fitted in, is the little USB receiver that you would just plug into a USB port on your computer, and it's a simple plug and play job, so the mouse and keyboard will work as soon as they are plugged in and charged. I wouldn't lose that if I were you. And it's now what's nice about that receiver is that it is kind of magnetically held in place, so when you're travelling, if you've got it in your bag, it should just be always with the mouse at all times, making life that little bit easier. Another thing to note is the micro USB that can be found on the top side, which goes in conjunction with this cable to allow you to charge the mouse at will when using it. Let's go a little bit more in depth then. So, my thoughts on the DW9000 keyboard specifically. In everyday usage, the kind of scissor mechanism that we operate with here felt sturdy, and there's a nice level of tactility associated with it. It's no mechanical keyboard, but for everyday usage it's perfectly fine. And despite the slim design, the keys felt rather responsive, and the laser etching of Legends is a really nice touch too. The additional multimedia keys that are on the top here were a really nice touch and made life a lot easier, especially opening a new browser window, and the remote locking of the PC from the little lock icon added an extra layer of security to my day-to-day kind of office experience, along with the AES 128 encryption that the whole desktop set, mouse included, holds. Now, one thing that is worth noting is there is actually minimal desk flex with the with this product because we've got a metal plate running all the way through it. I mean, if you really push, you can kind of flex it around, but for day-to-day stuff, it's perfectly fine. I'm a hard typist, and I didn't really notice it. Now, the lack of retractable feet was rather noticeable, I guess, especially given that a lot of other products, like the Logitech G915, which is also a low-profile keyboard, holds the function. They give a little bit more flexibility with everyday use, maximising comfort and ergonomics. But the rubber feet themselves did make typing a fair bit more comfortable with a slightly more raised feeling. And despite not being specifically designed with ergonomics in mind, the DW9000 Slim did really help out with that. Switching between the Bluetooth and RF connections on both Mac and PC was absolutely seamless, and is a massive plus point when it comes to this product. And one thing to note is that when they're left for a bit of a period of time, the keyboard and mouse do go to sleep when not being used, which really does help conserve the battery life. Moving on to the mouse then. I found that with the maximum DPI of just 1600, it does feel a little bit slow, personally speaking, but that's because I'm used to a 12,000, 15,000 DPI gaming mice. But for day-to-day office use, it was perfectly fine. All the mouse buttons, having been clicked a fair whack over the past couple of weeks, do feel solid in usage. And the Voronoi pattern on the side, that's rubberized, is kind of really swanky to have a look at once in a while, and does make the mouse feel rather comfortable when being used. Now, the rubberized scroll wheel does feel really responsive too, although the slight squeak that can be heard may be considered a little off-putting, but that's all down to personal preference. The switchable DPI button felt really tactile and responsive, and the flashing LED that this comes with also helped with providing notification of battery life. That's also another thing that's worth talking about. So when battery life does get below a certain level, the kind of LED that's present in there will flash to notify you that the battery life is going down. It also happens on the keyboard as well with regard to the lock lights. And one thing to note about the whole set is that the overall colour scheme of white and silver does really help to exude this premium feel and give this desktop set a really certain sense of style and swagger and vigour, I suppose. So, in conclusion then, the DW9000 Slim desktop set offers something premium feeling, with both the mouse and keyboard exuding this quality and style. And personally, I think that whilst £90 RRP is a little bit steeper than what some might expect, you can get discounts available online, which is something worth considering. if you're going to purchase this. But for the money, you're getting something stylish, secure, and really comfortable to use with a solid construction.